and welcome to Verdict 2015. Now, voting is on for the 57 seats in the fifth and the final phase of assembly elections in Bihar. All news and updates from Bihar in the next half an hour. We'll also discuss about the significance of this phase of elections with an expert joining us from Patna. I'm Ashwara Kapoor, and here are this morning's election headlines. Voting underway for fifth and final phase of elections in Bihar. Voters across 57 constituencies exercise their franchise. 11.23% voting so far. 827 candidates in the fray, including 58 women. Fate of several bigwigs across parties also being sealed. 31% of the candidates contesting in the final phase have criminal background. Many of them face serious charges like murder. Unprecedented security arrangements in place. 1,033 companies of state police and paramilitary forces ensuring no untoward incidents happen. Well, 57 constituencies spread across 9 districts are voting in the fifth and the final phase of elections in Bihar. 11.23% votes have been cast so far since polling began at 7 in the morning today. Massive security is in place to ensure free and fair polling.
After successfully holding 4 phases of assembly elections on October 12, 16, 28 and November 1, the fifth and final round of voting of 57 seats in Bihar is underway. 1,033 companies of state police and central paramilitary forces have been deployed to ensure free and fair polls.
We are very confident that we will conduct this election as a free, fair and participatory election, and all necessary preparations have been in place, and we are very confident.
The 57 constituencies include 24 in the Seemanchal region bordering West Bengal and spread over 9 districts of Madhubani, Darbhanga, Supol, Madhepura, Saharsa, Araria, Kishanganj, Purnia and Katihar. Let's take a look now at some of the crucial numbers in the fifth phase. A total of 57 constituencies are polling in this phase. 827 candidates are in the fray, out of which 58 are women. A total of 14,709 polling stations are being used, and 1.55 crore people are eligible to cast their vote. Prominent among those whose fate is being decided include Senior Minister Bijendra Prasad Yadav of the JDU, RJD Legislature Party Leader Siddiqui, Minister Narendra Narayan Yadav and Lalu Prasad's close aide Bhola Yadav. Except for 2 seats, polling began in 55 constituencies at 7 a.m. and will end at 5 p.m. In the 2 Naxal-hit constituencies in Saharsa district, the poll time has been cut short by 2 hours and would end at 3 p.m. The BJP has fielded a maximum of 38 candidates, while the LJP nominees are contesting in 11. The Rashtriya Lok Samata Party has put up candidates in 5 constituencies and the Hindustani Awami Morcha in 3. RJD in 25 seats, JDU candidates are trying their luck in 20 and the Congress in 12. Like in the previous 4 phases, there is a bitter fight between the NDA and the Grand Alliance of the JDU, RJD and Congress in all 57 seats in the 5th round. This round is being watched keenly to see if the All India Majlis-e-Ittihadul Muslimin of Asaduddin Owaisi manages to successfully launch itself in Bihar. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here is a ground report from our correspondent Vishal Daya from a polling station in Purnia.
Polling for the fifth and final phase in Bihar Assembly elections is underway. You can see a long queue of voters, both male and female, turning out in almost equal numbers. And this has been the picture since 7 a.m., the time when the polling began. Now, the fifth phase is going to be really crucial, both for the political parties, the alliances, the both main alliances, as well as other political parties which are in the fray. There are several issues which have been raised by these political parties during the campaign. But then now is the time for these voters to come out and cast their vote. And given the kind of campaign which has been done by the Election Commission as well, to try and make the voter aware of his and her right to cast the vote, the importance of that particular one vote, that seems to have made a effect and impact on the ground, and it's clearly visible in the long queues which are visible not only on this booth but other booths, several other booths as well. It's going to be really important to see it from the security point of view as well. Out of these 57 seats, there are certain number of seats which are Naxal affected areas, so a very tight security arrangement which has been put in place by the district administration officials to ensure that there is a free and fair play during the entire polling. Also, there are several top leaders, the state level top leaders who are contesting in this particular phase. Almost half a dozen ministers of the Nitish Kumar government are in the fray in this particular phase, out of which 2 women ministers are contesting from Purnia district itself. There are several other, relatives of political leaders who are also in the fray, and if you look at the numbers, then the largest number of relatives of the political leaders is contesting in this particular phase itself. There are issues, several issues. Let's have a chat with the voters out here, the women voters, to try and find out as to what exactly is the issue which seem to be the main reason behind their coming out and casting their vote. माधवी, आप वोट डालने आई हैं, क्या मुद्दा, क्या विकास सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा है आप चुनाव में?
जी सर।
और क्या है, महंगाई, कुछ और, कोई और आपके दिमाग में कोई सोच हो?
महंगाई तो बहुत बढ़ गया, लेकिन जिसको वोट देते हैं कोई आगे देखता नहीं है पब्लिक को।
पढ़ाई को लेकर के है और फिर महंगाई को लेकर के भी है।
विकास हो, बिजली जहाँ नहीं पहुँचा बिजली पहुँचे, सड़क पहुँचे, यही मुद्दा होता है।
बाकी राजनीतिक दलों की छवि, राजनीतिक उम्मीदवार की छवि, ये सब भी होती है कि किनको लाया जाए, सरकार बनाया जाए, जिसके जो काम करे उसी को बनाया जाए। So clearly, the focus still seems to be on the issue of development, although there were several other issues which we saw were raised by the political parties and their leaders during the campaign period. But for the voters out here, it still seems that the issues related to development, the issues related to basic amenities, basic facilities still rule the roost out here, and they will seemingly play a major role, if not at all, the most important one. With camera person Raj Thakur, this is Vishal Dahiya for Rajya Sabha TV from Purnia, Bihar.
Vishal Dahiya is now in fact joining us live from Purnia. Vishal, in a final phase of voting today, 3 hours back you showed us the queues, the serpentine queues there. What is the situation at the moment?
Well, exactly the same, Aishwarya. The queue is still there, although the number of voters is, decreasing and increasing as per the people, who were trying to find time. Today, being the voting day out here, it's a holiday, but then there are usual, regular, daily, works which people have. They need to take care of that as well. In the morning, we saw, first 2 hours, we saw a large number of people coming out. Now, the number seems to have gone down a little bit, but then the queue is still there, and we are hoping that after around, 12 or 1 p.m., maybe once the people, specifically in the city, are done with their morning stuff, they will definitely, those who are left, they will come out and cast their vote. As per the Election Commission figures, which we have right now, around 12 to 13% people have cast their votes till around 9:30 a.m. and this is significant because the voting is going to take place till 5 p.m. except 2 seats where the voting will come to an end by 3 p.m. But then 5 p.m. It's a long time to go, around say still 7 hours to go. So we are hoping that those people who are still left, who are still in their houses, there are certain people who are coming from other areas as well. Either they are living in different districts, or some of them who even come from Delhi. Remember, a significant number of young population in this state, and specifically in this area, are those who go for either study or job to other places, other districts, other states. So those people are also coming in to try to cast their vote,
yes.
And that particular number, we are hoping those people would swell up somewhere around lunchtime, maybe around 2 or 3 p.m.
All right, Vishal, thank you so much for those details there. So close to 11 to 12% voter turnout has been registered in the first 3 hours. Let's now get what is the significance of this phase of elections? Let's get a perspective. Mr. Sanjeev Verma, who's the news coordinator with the Telegraph, is now joining us. Good morning, Mr. Verma. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Verma, now this fifth phase is concerned. That is being held in 57 seats in Simachal, Kosi and Mithilanchal. Now, Grand Alliances here, banking on a high concentration of Muslim votes as well as Yadav votes. What is your assessment?
Look, Aishwarya, this is a very important phase as far as the Bihar elections are concerned. 57 seats are there up for grab.
Yes.
Both the alliances have put high stake in this phase, and they campaigned intensively till last moment. They reached out to the voters. The first 4 phases were keenly contested. So the outcome of the 5th phase can be the decider of this whole poll process. Who is going to be the winner, final winner?
Mr. Verma, this phase belt actually also includes a large number of Dalits, the EBCs. Now they seem to be really sharply divided, like we have seen earlier as well. Which way this vote will go will obviously depend to a large extent on how these EBCs, these Dalits, are going to vote, isn't it?
Hello? Your voice is breaking, Aishwarya.
Mr. Verma, I was asking you that this belt also includes a large number of Dalits, the EBCs. They are sharply divided in this high-pitched election. So the way they are going to vote, that is going to determine the outcome of the elections as well.
One more thing has to be factored in while analyzing this thing. You see, there is a good concentration of Muslim voters in this belt, and it would be interesting that how they are going to vote. IM is there in the fray.
Yes.
Tariq Anwar's party is there in the fray. Then Pappu Yadav would be a player in this phase. One cannot deny that. So split of votes is going to take across the castes, across the religious communities. So very tough to say anything now. Only the outcome will tell how did the voters react to the appeals made by different political parties.
But Mr. Verma, while we talk of caste and related factors, but there are other, now when we talk about this 5th phase of elections, there are these areas are some of the Bihar's most backward areas, the notorious for poverty, for illiteracy, migration. So how much would be the importance of development in these areas?
Aishwarya, if you see the 5 phases of the Bihar polls, not only this phase, development has been the issue. People on the ground are demanding basic amenities, and it is a big slur on the political parties that even 67 years after independence they have not been able to provide the basic amenities like water, roads and electricity to people. This belt is no different. Maybe the degree of underdevelopment is steeper in this belt than the other belts, but it is backwardness is across this state. People are still struggling for the basic amenities, and same applies here.
And when speaking about NDA, of course, Grand Alliance is fancying its chance in this phase especially. But speaking about NDA, now we have seen a very high-pitched campaign and there were a number of controversies as well. So it is going to be interesting to see how much of the impact of such a shrill campaign would be on the voters, isn't it?
Of course, yes. All these leaders, they try to influence the voters in their own way. Some try to polarize them on the basis of caste, some on the basis of religion, some on the subcaste, and so many things. So, of course, polarization would be there, but the degree of it, it's something to be seen when the votes would be counted.
All right, Mr. Verma, you stay with us. We'll just come back to you. Meanwhile, let's listen into what voters in Kishanganj have to say as they vote to choose their candidates.
तो सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा है यहाँ पे पढ़ाई का। पढ़ाई के लिए कोई व्यवस्था नहीं है, कोई अच्छा कॉलेज। बच्चे यहाँ पे मैट्रिक तक करते हैं, इंटर करते हैं, उसके बाद उन लोग को बाहर जाना पड़ता है।
सुविधा बनाना चाहिए, सेफ्टी रहना चाहिए। यहाँ बहुत ऐसा गंदा लड़का से भी बुलाता है, इसमें सेफ्टी रहना चाहिए।
हर चीज का सुविधा होना चाहिए, बच्चे लोग को आगे भविष्य के लिए नौकरी सर्विस होना चाहिए। पढ़ लिख के सब बेरोजगार है, तो इसके लिए तो सरकार को करना जरूरी ना है बेटा। लेडीज के लिए, महिला के लिए कुछ निकाल देता बिजनेस की, यहाँ पर बैठ के कुछ करती, रोटी रोजी के लिए लोग मरता है, भूखे प्यासे रहता है।
ये अच्छी सरकार चाहिए जो विकास का काम करे, सड़क, बिजली, पानी ये सब व्यवस्था करे, साफ सफाई रखे, और क्या, यही सब चाहिए।
तो सोच कर आए हैं जो कि एक अच्छी सरकार को वोट देंगे जो जात पात का बात न करे, बस जो जात पात से ऊपर उठ के विकास का बात करके अच्छी तरह से सरकार चले।
पढ़ाई की व्यवस्था ठीक नहीं है, कानून व्यवस्था ठीक नहीं है, यही सब है। नौकरी, इंडस्ट्रीज नहीं है, और बिना इसका तो विकास हो नहीं सकता है।
वोट देने का आधार हमारा मेन है कि विकास, इस बिहार का विकास हो, और देश और स्टेट की तरह जैसे गुजरात में है विकास, वैसे हमारा बिहार भी हो, इसलिए हम वोट गिराने आए हैं।
All right, let's go back to Mr. Verma now. Mr. Verma, now, before the elections, we saw the first time in the history of Election Commission, really, that it censored political ads. What would you make out of it, that?
You see, Election Commission tried its level best to rein in the political parties, not allowing them to polarize voters or to use dirty tricks in the campaign. But one very interesting thing which I have personally observed, that even though Election Commission was going hard, hammers and tongs against the political parties, they did what they liked. They continued uttering nonsense. They continued with coming up with advertisements which were divisive in nature. It somewhere shows that Election Commission's action is not taken seriously by these parties, and Commission needs to ponder over this fact, that some mechanism should be developed, that first these kind of things don't go into public domain, and if at all these things go, stern actions are taken against those who dare to violate the directives of the Commission.
So what you're basically saying that is the Election Commission really needs to introspect and probably take some lessons from the elections in Bihar and probably change the way the elections are being held in our country in future, isn't it?
No, not at all. I was talking about the kind of advertisement and the kind of statements which were going in the public domain. As far as conducting the election is concerned, it has been fair enough. I mean, the security arrangement has been good. No major violent incidents has been reported. Those basic things are there, but, vitiating the atmosphere.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah, please continue.
So vitiating the atmosphere in the name of seeking votes is something should not be allowed at any cost.
Yes.
No political party should be given a free hand. Having said that, I would like to say that the way political parties behaved in this election, somewhere it appeared that they were not much bothered about the kind of action which may be taken against them. They continued with their tirade and their advertisements and all, bothering little about the kind of action these things would attract.
Yeah,
so somewhere down the line it appears that they are confident that no serious action would be taken, and by the time action would be taken, elections would be over and their purpose would be solved.
In fact, that is what I was asking Mr. Verma, that probably you think that Election Commission really needs to have some more teeth to act on such elements who spread such sort of who polarize voters and give such inflammatory statements.
Exactly.
And Mr. Verma, now if we look at the campaigning in all the 5 phases in Bihar elections, it seems it has seen more than a fair share of mudslinging. We have seen in some sting videos, name calling, polarization along caste, religion. Do you think this election will go down in the history of Bihar as one of the most acrimonious ever?
Of course, yes. The campaign this time has taken the level of campaigning to a new low, I would say. Every kind of adjectives were used. It is not done in the name of seeking vote. I mean, people reasonable people were feeling bad that what is happening in this state. You see, even after elections are over, the system would continue, a government would be formed, but the kind of acrimony which creeps in during the course of the campaign, it sometimes results in post-poll violence, and this is something which is worrying me.
Okay. So it was a very highly acrimonious election that has been fought. Now votes have already been cast for 191 of the 243 Bihar Assembly, and it is the last phase of polling today, and the counting of votes will take place on 8th of November. Thank you so much, Mr. Verma, for joining us this morning and sharing your perspective on that story. And with this, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us.
Tales that inspire, stories of social change. A salute to diversity, promoting public discourse. Events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries every Friday at 10:30 p.m., Saturday 12:30 p.m. and Sunday at 1 p.m.
Now, several bigwigs to cast their votes in Bihar. Let's listen in to what they had to say.
इस 5वें फेज में भी हमारे पास जो खबर आ रही है, भारी तादाद में लोग वोट डाल रहे हैं, लोग परिवर्तन के लिए वोट डाल रहे हैं, लोग विकास के लिए वोट डाल रहे हैं, लोग मोदी के साथ हैं।
गाय की पूंछ पकड़ करके यहाँ भी ये चुनाव की बेचैनी पार करना चाहते थे, तो इस पर तो हम नहीं सुनेंगे।
बिल्कुल हमारा कंफर्टेबल जोन है, जहां आप ये मान के चलिए कि 90% से अधिक सीटें आज 57 में से वो महागठबंधन के उम्मीदवार जीतने जा रहे हैं।
Now, 31% of the candidates contesting in the 5th phase of the Bihar elections have a criminal background, and when it comes to fielding such candidates, no party has been left behind. Now, several of them have very serious charges, including murder against them.
No political party in Bihar can claim to have a clean candidate list. According to the report of the Association for Reforms, 31% of the candidates in Phase 5 have criminal background. In comparison to 2010 elections, this time, the list of candidates with criminal backgrounds has gone up.
अपराधी चरित्र के लोगों को हर एक पार्टी ने अपने तरफ से मनमाने तौर पे टिकट दिया है, और धनबल का भी जो जोर है इस चुनाव में ऐतिहासिक होने वाला है। इस बार पिछले तमाम चुनावों के रिकॉर्ड को तोड़ने वाला है।
The BJP leads the list of parties that have given tickets to tainted candidates. It tops the chart with 95 out of the 157 candidates, making it 61% of its entire list. For the JDU, 58 out of its 101 candidates are tainted, which means a total of 57%. The RJD has fielded 61 such candidates out of its list of 101, which makes it 60%. The list of charges against these tainted candidates include murder, kidnapping and dacoity.
पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज पिलर्स ऑफ डेमोक्रेसी, उन लोग ऐसे क्रिमिनल्स को वोट दे के जा रहे हैं, और जो है ना, दूसरा ये भी आपने देखा होगा, बढ़ गया, जो पैसा वाला आदमी को ज्यादा दे रहे हैं, आम आदमी जो है ना लड़ाई कर नहीं सकते हैं, ऐसे हो गया नौबत।
Among the 3,450 candidates who are contesting the Bihar polls, 1,038, that means 30% of the total list, have criminal cases registered against them. In the first phase, there were 130 candidates with serious charges. That makes it 23% of the candidates. In the second phase, 142 candidates were tainted, making it 31% of the total list. In the third phase, out of the 808 in fray, 215 candidates, which means 21% of the total list, had criminal charges. And in the recently concluded fourth phase, out of the 776 candidates, 201 were tainted. Experts say such candidates are a danger for democracy.
दबंग जो होते हैं वो पिछड़ों को प्रभावित करते हैं, तो इस ऐसी स्थिति में वो जीत भी जाते हैं। तो जीत जाने से हर एक पार्टी को ये लगता है कि मैं ऐसे कैंडिडेट को लाऊं यहाँ पर जो कि हमको किसी भी तरह से ये सीट जीत कर दिखाए। ऐसे मामले में इससे राजनीति में उत्तरोत्तर ह्रास होता जा रहा है, और अपराधी किस्म के अगर लोग संसद में पहुंचेंगे तो कभी भी हमारा समाज का विकास नहीं हो पाएगा।
All political parties have given tickets to people with criminal past, but will they be able to let the criminal proceedings against them continue unhindered if they come to power is the question on everyone's mind. Ravindra Sheran's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The cycle scheme introduced by the Bihar government in 2006 has proved to be a boon for students in Bihar. The scheme particularly has benefited the girl students who now travel to faraway places to pursue higher studies. Here's a special report.
This is Anjali. There are no schools beyond 8th standard in her village, so her parents were planning to stop her schooling. The nearest school that offered higher education was 6 kilometers away from her village. But after the Bihar government's initiative to give cycles to school-going girls, Anjali has been able to continue her studies.
मैंने अपने से स्कूल जाना बहुत और समय पर वापस आना साइकिल से बहुत फायदा है। गार्जियन का मैंने उतना भी समय भी लॉस नहीं होता है। अपने आप खुद अपना कर लेती है लड़कियां सब अच्छी।
Several other students across the state have benefited from the scheme.
इससे एक फायदा है कि जाने में भी लेट नहीं लगता है, जल्दी चल जाते हैं और अच्छा से कोचिंग पढ़ाई कर पाते हैं।
साइकिल मिलने से समय से आते हैं जाते हैं, पढ़ाई लिखाई में अच्छी सुविधा होती है
और थोड़ा सा सुरक्षा भी रहती है।
जी सुरक्षा होती है, टाइम से घर पहुंच जाते हैं।
Bihar initiated the scheme wherein girls are given cycles after they pass class 8. The literacy rate among girls in Bihar in 2001 was 33%, which increased to 51.50% in 2010. Political observers say the state's cycle scheme has a big role to play in the improved statistics.
पहले केवल लड़के आते थे, वो भी कम आते थे। सबको साइकिल मिला है, लड़के लड़कियों सबको। उससे गार्जियन निश्चिंत रहता है अपने घर पे और अधिक से अधिक बच्चे आते हैं और एक बच्चे दो टाइम आकर के पढ़ पाते हैं डबल विषय।
The scheme is nothing short of a boon for girls who want to pursue their higher studies. As for parents, it has meant relief from the worries of their daughter's safe journey to school.
पकड़िए जी, यहाँ से अगर साहिबगंज जाना हो तो कम से कम 10 रुपए इधर से 10 रुपए उधर से भाव लगता है। अब तो वो चीज नहीं है। अब तो सीधा साइकिल से गया और समय से पहले भी पहुंचा, फिर समय से पहले इत्मीनान से आ गया। और फिर गाड़ी के लिए भी तो असुविधा। अब गाड़ी आएगा तब ना हम घर जाएंगे, और साइकिल है तो वहाँ पर पड़े और फिर घर चले।
The BJP has promised scooties to girls if they come to power. Now the choice is with the voters whether they want to speed or pedal to school. Ravindra Sheran's report for Rajya Sabha TV.